Do you write thank you notes when you receive a gift or after a job interview? Do you expect this of your kids? My mom sure did. After Christmas, after birthdays, after every time we received anything, and before we could spend the money, the note needed to be in the mail. Well, this is good manners, but it's more than that. As you're writing a thank you note, what are you doing? Well, at one level, you're tracing the history of the good action of the other person. You relinquish some cash on my behalf. Thank you. You've given me a gift that's enhanced my life, made it better. I appreciate you. But this might be beneficial to the giver, but it certainly is to you, as it reminds you that you're not self-sufficient, that you benefit from the generosity of others. And because this gift you accepted depended upon the other person making their life about someone other than themselves, you're acknowledging that as a good and necessary way to live, which is captured in part by your taking the time and the resources to say thank you. You're making your life about something higher than selfishness and entitlement. No, I'm not just do this. This is a gift, and I benefited from it. Now, what's interesting is how this overlaps with Moses' instruction in the first reading. The Israelites had been wandering in the desert for 40 years. That's after spending 400 plus years in captivity and slavery in Egypt. And he says, what are you to do? You're to speak this out loud. You're to trace the history of your oppression, of your need, and of God coming to meet your need, providing for you. And then you're to offer an expression of your gratitude, the first fruits of the land, not the last fruits, not what's left over, but the first of the harvest you're to bring to him, which expresses your conviction, your belief that not only has he provided for you now, but he will in the future. They're the first fruits, not the last fruits. By giving something valuable away, they were saying in part, my life is about something greater than what I can acquire, that I'm made for something more, that I'm aiming at the highest good by offering something valuable, time, resources, energy. Now, it's fascinating to me how this practice anticipated by hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years the attacks of the devil in the gospel and the way in which Jesus defended himself and us against that. What did Jesus do? Well, he traced some of the history of the way in which God provided for us by quoting the scripture. Not one little piece and misinterpreting it like the devil did, but fuller in scope. Turn this stone into bread, the devil said. Make your life about what you can make and acquire. Satisfy your own desires. You really are self-sufficient. You can do it on your own. One does not live by bread alone, Jesus said. Don't live as though you're not created for more, as though God will not provide you with what you really need, as though you're not his creature or dependent upon anyone outside yourself. I shall give you all the kingdoms of the world, all this power and glory if you worship me, Satan said. Don't aim at the highest good. Make a bargain for something less, for power and glory. Don't put God at the center of your life. You don't really need to go to Mass. Think of all the rest that you could get instead. Think of all the sports your kids could participate in. Think of all the extra money you could make by working that day. You really deserve that. You shall worship the Lord your God, and him alone shall you serve. If you don't serve God, well, you're serving something lower, and you're becoming something lesser. Throw yourself down, the devil said. Treat God like a thing, a vending machine who is only valuable and relevant when he gives you what you want. Test him. You need something, ask him. He doesn't give it to you, well, then you can point him out as not really concerned for you, or maybe really not even existing. He should serve you, give to you, like a gift giver who is never thanked because who he is and what he's about isn't appreciated. Only the gift is because your life, well, it's really about you. You should not put the Lord your God to the test. Testing doesn't speak of reciprocity, but faith, hope, and love do. Friends, here we are participating in the Eucharist, which of course means Thanksgiving. And we're tracing the history of what God has done and continues to do for us. And what are we offering in Thanksgiving? Well, firstly, Jesus, who St. Paul spoke of as the first fruits of the dead. But secondly, God leaves space for each of us to reciprocate his generosity by offering something valuable. Time, goodwill, participation, attention, financial contributions, first fruits, and our little efforts throughout the week at resisting the devil and working with God. I mean, in the end, the question simply is, am I really grateful to God? How does that show?